How do you get folks to understand that the past is someplace they don't want to be again, but not be married or locked into it when it comes to records, 3-9 or 4-8, right? Where you understand that it's not a birthright, but you don't want to be held captive by it either, right? It can't be the paralysis by analysis.
Well, when you talk about the past, it's like there's the distinguished elite past, right? And so to me, what does that say? That means it can be done, right? That means it can be done. So we're not trying to get us to somewhere we've never been. We're trying to get us back to somewhere we have been. So it can be done. So that's a fact. Now, when you look at like recent history and hey, we're not winning, we're not going to bowl games, it makes you say to yourself, then hey, what we're doing might not be right. Again, it's easy to just sit there and blame it on one thing, one person, it's never that, right? So I think it's Trev, it's President Carter, it's Matt Rhule, it's the assistant coaches, it's the players, it's the fan base, it's everybody, all of us looking and saying, hey, what can we do? Like, what can we do today that will lead back to greatness? And to your point, like, I can't be held accountable for what someone did before me. Our players can't be held accountable for what someone did before them. Like, I just prefer to live in the now. Like, we want to learn from the past. We want to prepare for the future, but we've got to live in the now. And I understand people, maybe they're frustrated, but you know what? They'll be happy again. Like, they'll be happy again. And when we get to there, you know what we're going to be talking about? Today. Because we don't want to get complacent. You know, we don't want to sit there and expect because we're winning, we're going to continue to win. The worst thing that happens, and it's why teams that start to win, like you win a couple games and then they lose, is you try to recapture winning. So you say to yourself, like, well, what do we do to win? And then you wear the same clothes, or let's play the same formation. That's not what winning is. Winning is, hey, what are the resources we have? You know, what are the defects the other team has? How do we take advantage of what they don't have? Utilize what we have, protect what we struggle with. Like, it's always being strategic and forward thinking. And we did that roundtable with Coach Osborne, and that's what I tried to hit on there. It's not about me going back and trying to do everything we did in the 90s. Coach was in the 90s, and he was on the cutting edge. So to best represent what Nebraska means, it's how can we be on the cutting edge now so that everyone in the country, after we win, is coming in and saying, hey, tell me what you guys are doing. Tell me what you guys are doing that's different than what we're doing.
So if it's tactical and then technical, the players have the technical stuff and the staff is responsible for the tactical?
I think it's shared. Like, you know, so obviously the coaches, they're really the coaches, they set the techniques and they set sort of, here's our tactics. Like, you know, we have an overall strategy, but the tactics to achieve that strategy can change every week. So we set the tactics. But even within playing football, there's the technique. You know, hey, you backpedal this way, you get in a stance this way. But a lot of football is tactical. It's like, you know, hey, I'm backpedaling off one, I'm reading two breaks out. What do I do? And it's the guys who can think quickly that respond. And that's one of the great things about Coach Osborne, you know, and Coach Solich, Coach Devaney, and the way they practiced where everyone was moving and there was 4 stations. You got so many reps. You didn't just develop your technique. You developed your tactics. You saw things time and time again. So for me, I wrote my thesis. Again, we talked earlier about off Erickson, off of expert novice differences, off, you know, sort of the 10,000 hour rule of Erickson and 10 years to be an expert. So it's like the more reps I get, the quicker I see things. I'm not a big believer in instincts. When people say this kid's got great instincts, I think it's cognitive. I think it's reps. I think it's visual. Don't get me started to the coaches. I recognize when someone has it, but I think it can be developed through reps and through seeing things, which is why, to me, I'm talking very fast, the New Yorker me's coming out right now, which is why,
I like passion.
Which is why, to me, practice is the most important thing in our organization. Because if you don't practice well, you can't tactically respond right in situations. Coaches can meet all day and tell you things, but you're the one out there playing. Hey, Jeff Sims, the ball's in your hands. Like, you got to win versus man-to-man. Hey, you got to pick up that blitz. You got to see the safety come and go pick up that blitz. And so we'll train you technically. We'll train you tactically. And then you got to go play the game. And that's the benefit of that is it's freeing. Like, what we're going to do is we're going to train these guys. And, man, I'll tell you what, we're going to cut them loose on game day. And if it works out, great. And if it doesn't work out, we'll train them again and cut them loose the next week. But we're going to attack. We're not going to sit back and hope to win.